Trending in China, where we dive into the latest buzz around the Chinese economy and beyond.
So this group of young kids, starting to do something in the rural village. So in this 10 years, we have seen great changes in the rural area that was happening along with the national policy. What is our role in this village and what they want us to do and what we can do?
Do you think this is like your understanding of the rural revitalization? Because you are bringing the old residents in the rural areas together with the newcomers.
They want to bring aesthetic values and they want to bring money and they want to bring people and they want to bring the brilliant ideas and talents together in one village.
Hello and welcome to Trending in China. I'm Zhang Yiyi, your host and economic reporter based in Beijing. Whether you are a Chinese enthusiast, a curious listener, or just someone looking to stay ahead of the curve, this is the podcast where we explore what's making waves in China's fast-paced society. Today, I'm more than thrilled to have my friend Zhao Jinzheng to co-host this episode. Jinzheng is a rural China expert and a reporter based in East China's Anhui province. Together, we'll be diving into some fascinating stories about what's taking place in these vast rural areas of the country.
Hey everyone, I'm Zhao Jinzheng, and today's episode is really special because we're focusing on Huangshan, a place known not only for the stunning landscapes, but also for the fresh energy and creativity the young people are bringing to the rural development. Actually, it is a great season to climb Huangshan mountains, and that is also the very place where today's inspiring story takes place. You know, while Huangshan is famous for the sea of clouds, there's another kind of wave happening here. A wave of young Chinese returnees leaving behind the cosmopolitan careers to revitalize their rural communities.
Oh, really? Well, we've heard about urban flight in the West, but this sounds like a reverse trend. Educated talents bringing global ideas back to the countryside.
Yeah, exactly. And for today, I'd like to introduce a special guest with us. She's Guo Shanqiuyun, a young entrepreneur who has been in Tangjiazhuang Village of Huangshan City for a while for tourism project development.
Hello, everyone. This is Guo Shanqiuyun. Pleasure to be invited here to do this broadcast.
Okay, thank you, Guo. Your story mirrors a national movement in China. We have already heard about that. And I also said, over my career as reporting on Anhui, I have seen some of the new coffee shops in the once dusty rural areas. And the managers and consumers are basically from both the city and the rural areas. Also, you know that our American friend Adrian and his family members also came to Huangshan to start a restaurant. So here comes the first question. Can you tell us more about where you studied and what led you to choose your majors, and how was your journey abroad shaped your current path?
So my story maybe started from 2014 when I went abroad to America for high school and then finished my university education also in Boston. Also, I went study abroad exchange program to the UK for 1 year and a half. So basically, I've spent about nearly 10 years abroad. My major was economics and also actuarial study. So basically, my major is based on in the financial area, and then about insurance and stuff. But luckily, I met my husband. He was studying in the UK for architecture, and then at that time when I was exchanged to the UK, then we also found a lot of common interest in the China developing projects. About at that time, I think we was discussing about the city village. How's that called? Chenzongcun. So basically, it's like the village in the city, not in the rural area. Yeah. When when China is developing. So when before it was the near rural area, but then when the time go past, the rural area also becoming a part of the city, but the village is still, the condition is still kept in the city. So when at that time we were discussing and also study a lot about that project. So when we came back from the States and the UK, we entered a Hong Kong company, which was focused on impact investment and also impact evaluation. When we entered this impact investment and evaluation company, then we also getting to know more because they have a lot of project in the rural China. So at that time, we together with this company, we went in to discuss and invest, and we also went to study a lot about the rural village in China. We have seen what was happening in those villages. And then they need development. They also need people coming back because at the time those villages is basically already very empty. A lot of the old people, the elderly, and also the young people, they already went out to work in the cities and left out the children left behind and the very old. So at that time, we started to think what we can do in those villages. So and also my husband, his major was architecture. So basically, we can do a lot of renovation in the rural areas.
So it all started from a love story. So you were doing some projects together. I wonder, when did this actually begin? Was it like 2014? The exact time? It was like 10 years ago?
Yeah, we came back around 2015. 2015, yeah, 2015. 2015 is the first time. No, actually it was 2014, at the end of the year of 2014. We first went to the where our first project startup is the village called Tangjiazhuang in Huangshan. So basically that was the first time we went to that city, went to that village. And that village at that time, it was nothing at all. It was very, very far away. Even now, it was not even very close to the we call town or the city. It was still quite far away from the center. So basically, what we started at that time, we spent about 1.5 years, nearly 2 years. We invited like Columbia University, like the Hong Kong University and stuff. So we invited them to join our research project. It's like a field research. So in the field research time, we study a lot about how the government, the very low level government, the village side, how they were managing the whole village and how the people are joining in the village development and how they spread their voice out in the future for the development. So basically we spent like nearly 2 years to study how the basic things runs in the village.
That was quite an international journey. So, and also you spend a lot of time studying all the cases in the rural areas in China back then. So I wonder, combining with your international experiences, what differences did you notice between rural areas in China back then and the countries that you were in?
When I was in the States, it was not that actually just like people doing your own stuff in the rural area. When we were studying, it basically people in the night, they don't very go out. They stay at home, they watch TV, and also or a few times like hang out with friends. But in China, it's very different. So in the US, in the rural areas, it's very quiet in the night during most of the time. And And in China, so we know we have delivery. You can buy a lot of things outside, and even you can buy things very efficiency. So it's actually the thing is that at this point, I feel like I realized my life was not that easy, not that efficient when I was in the US. It's basically you have nowhere to go in the night, and then during the daytime, it's just like people doing their work, doing their job, and doing the stuff. And also, you see, when I've seen, in my memory, like the subway was very old and very nasty, and also when the pay system is also not that efficient. And also what I've seen, it's actually something very common and something very different. So the different is in China, you feel like it's the safety sense that you can feel is everywhere. But in the US, it's not quite the same. So that's what brought to me the feeling that almost 10 years. But in the UK, it's a little bit better than the US because no people can hand their gown, and also, yeah. So maybe I think to me it's still I enjoy the life in China a lot more than in the US. It's almost 10 years. So the past 10 years was in the States and in the UK. And from 2015 till now is almost another 10 years. So the 10 years difference is it's a lot different. Yeah.
Okay. I also know that you have a tourism project in South China's Yunnan province, right? And which is also developed in a mountain village. So I wonder what sparked your idea of coming to the mountain villages in China instead of, well, staying abroad in US and the UK or go to the big cities in China? I mean, why mountain villages?
Because my hometown was in Shenzhen. So basically, I've already experienced the very big city life when I was young, and also during my study time abroad. But why when we choose to came back first is because actually the rural life experience is very interesting. You can see a lot of things that you can creating, and that opportunity was actually it's very hard to get when you were in the big cities, even though maybe like our families, maybe we can also live very well if we're not going to the rural areas. But to us, we want to accomplish something that in our it's like a goal that we want to accomplish in my life journey. So I want to really to create something and to bring some big changes that can help other people. So that's why we very enjoy the life. And also when we were in 2015, at that time we actually gathered a group of employees and also our colleagues. So our colleagues, they're also about the same age when we were at that time. So maybe around almost at the age of 20, under 25th. So this group of young kids. So starting to do something in the rural village. So in this 10 years, we have seen great changes in the rural area that was happening along with the national policy, the changes, the supportive policy that giving you the money and also the other support from all levels of government. So basically, we have changed that the nations are more emphasized at putting more policies to support the rural to develop. So that was our opportunity. So it was an opportunity for us and my whole team that we can actually starting to do something different. And that accomplishment maybe you can not really easy to get when you were a group of not teenager, but a group of young people. It's very hard to get this accomplishment. Maybe in this time. So I think it was an opportunity for me and also for my team.
Okay, as you have mentioned repeatedly about the 2 years of field work, well, I want to ask, what impressed you most during that 2 years? What impressed you, and what to another word, what surprised you most?
What
as an overseas
impressed
returnee?
I think what impressed me was in the very bottom level, the government side, you can see the democracy is happening. And also you can see that our voice is also infecting the village to develop. So when we were talking to the elderly in the village and also to the young people in the village, the most common question at that time, I think we have asked them what you want to happen, or you want this village to develop, to which side, like to what interests you to stay here, or have your kids to come back to this village, yes or no, why? The reason why they send their kids to the cities is because the education and also the work opportunity and also the stuff, and why you stay here back in this village. And then if the village was developing, and then what do you think is the most important things to you, and why all the villagers can support us to do this development. So it's a lot of the question we want to know, that we are outsider to this village because we're not born here, we're not grew up here. So we were outsiders who joined in this village, and then we will stay in this village in the future, and also helping them to develop what is our role in this village and what they want us to do and what we can do in the future. So it's these 2 years, the field research is basically we are finding the answers to these questions. So we also want to tell us what we can do and to what level, to what part, to what so basically we also want to give us an answer that what the team you can do in this village, in the future development.
That was very decent observations in the countryside. So your journey, your stay in the countryside has expanded far more from personal interest. It's actually a very mature project you've been developing through the years. You've mentioned your very first step in the rural areas in China is Tangjiazhuang Village. I wonder, when you first arrived, what were your impressions of the village, and why did you choose Huangshan as your first step? And as you mentioned, what kind of village do you want to create? Did you find the answers?
I cannot give you a very precise answer to this question because I think I'm still finding, but I can tell you it was 10 years ago when I first arrived in this village. It was a very it was beautiful, but it was very quiet. You just seen people living in there. And then it was not a very ancient building architecture style. It was just a normal, very common living architecture in the Huizhou area, because the Huizhou area here, we have the architecture style is almost the same style as the Huipai style architecture. But in that village, is everything that village is also a new village. It's almost developing, I think maybe just under from the 1920s or 30s to start this village. So it was not a very ancient place. So it was also a very common village compared to all those villages near to the rural villages we have seen in China. So to us, I think at that time why we chose to start our first program in that village is that we want to try. It's actually a test that in this kind of village, if we can create something, or we can use our brand, use our brain, use our creativeness to develop something out. So for us, I think it's maybe just at that time we want to try if we can create something different based on a very common village. And that was the whole starting point why we chose to be there. And why we chose to Huangshan is because Huangshan is a very famous tourism city. So the Huangshan is like the world Huangshan. It's not only the Chinese Huangshan. So first of all, Huangshan is a very famous tourism city at that time. And then for that village is also another story. It's because my father was also a designer, and my father was the first one who be invited to this village. And then he found out that village is very interesting and very beautiful. So at that time we were still studying abroad, and then he called us back. He said, "Oh, I really want to invite you to be back here to see if you can do something different, because my husband also architecture. He said you can use your design to do a lot of project here, and also I'm based on the economic side, so you can try to use your brain to see if you can do something in the rural village." So everything started because my father, but later the 10 years is because our interest to see if we can stay there for a long time project that we can see how the things, the village is changing, and then we can try to and then so in the further way, then we have the experience to tell the other villages, maybe this point you can from which side you can develop, to give them some opinions.
And I have been to Tangjiazhuang villages for around 3 to 4 times, and I not only heard but I also saw some of the infrastructures you and your team have been expanding, like bakeries and some public buildings for the villagers and the tourists to have a good rest. So can you tell us your story about your first project in Tangjiazhuang, and how was that developed?
Our first project was a renovation. Actually, it's a renovation from a community hall. It's actually a community hall. But when you were there, the time that when you were there, it was already being changed into the hotel. But the very first project was the renovation of the community hall. The community hall, we were start first of all. Actually, at that time, we were still very young. We were thinking things very not as far as now. So we were thinking that, we can attract a lot of people, a lot of tourists, a lot of young kids to come in and study in the rural area. Then it's actually there was a hostel that it was very creative hostel, because we have this very big stairs that everyone can join in. And also our first community program was was everyone joined in to see the October 1st, our national 的阅兵 national
parade.
So it was national Yeah, national parade. Yeah. It was the national parade as the first time. So yeah, at that time that we want to try to use this space as a common space for the whole villages that everyone can join in. You can come to read books, you can come to enjoy our program, and then you can, and also we can bring the other people, the tourists, the kids, to come and study in the village. But at that time, the program started to run about a year, and then later we started to rent the empty houses in the village, because the people, they already went out and they left out the house was empty, and they wanted their house to still keep in the condition. But then we said we can rent from the people, and then we can start to do some renovation as a country host for the tourism, for the tourists when they come to this place and they enjoy the environment, and then they can stay in our host. So that was also the Tangjia模式. So it's the program that the Tangjia Village is developing. So actually later on, the whole village, they rent also all the empty houses from the villagers. And then they spend about I think 300,000 around each building, and to do some renovation. And then later on, as we tell the other tourists that you can stay here for long term. It's actually a community. So we want to help the Tangjazhuang Village to develop to a future community, a rural community. So in the rural community, we want to invite people to first of all, we discuss there are short-term period tourism. So the people, they come in just for 1 day or two, and also for the a long-term, we now call Xinchun, means the new villages. So we invite these people to stay in this village for a long term, so they can also join in the development of the whole village. And also we have the old villages that already been there. They were born there, they will grow up there. So these three group of people together, they create a community, a rural community. And then we found out the very common interest for all these three group of people. For example, what they need, what they want, and what they want us to do. So that is the key to actually giving us a direction of what we need to develop in the future. So for example, the tourism, for the tourists, the very short-term period tourists, they want to shop, maybe they want to eat, they want to stay, and also they want some program that they can play. So in that part, also, so for the long-term, with the new villages, what they want efficiency. For example, in the delivery, they also want to eat. They want a place to stay in the very low rent, and they want a place that they can maybe do some a little bit small businesses. And then for the already being there, the old villages, they also want their village to develop, and they need all these things. They need a place to do business. They need to do this business. So they wanted the other tourists to come this village. So in that circle, basically we pick out everyone's all these three group of people's common interest. Then we develop what's going on to fulfill their interests.
That's very cool. That's a very new style of cycle in the rural area, actually. We've always been talking about rural revitalization. Do you think this is like your understanding of the rural revitalization? Because you are bringing the old residents in the rural areas together with the newcomers, like you said, new villagers, no matter they're tourists or they're we always talk about 数字游民 these days, like the digital nomads. They can work there and have fun, having their sense of community.
Yeah. It's basically in our part of rural revitalization is just what you have just said. So basically, you mean the revitalization. What is revitalization? First of all, you need people, right?
Yeah,
and you need money. Yeah, you need to revitalize what you need tools to revitalize. So you need people, you need money, and then you need ideas. So in that part, it's like the old residents, they need to find out what the revitalization can bring them. So basically, in the mention of the 2 years field research, is actually we're asking questions to the old residents. If the revitalization is happening, then what do you want to see the future picture is? So what can we try to create what kind of picture for you think is the revitalization for this village? And then for the new residents, it's basically the environment. So you can choose everywhere to stay, right? You can stay in the big cities. You can stay in everywhere. And the digital nomads, you can go to Yunnan, you can go to Guizhou, you can go to everywhere. But why here? So it's also the question of asking people, why here? Why this village? Why here? And also for the other tourists, you can go to Anji, you can go to everywhere. It's also the same question is why here? So we need to create this environment that giving the reason and giving the living standard to tell everyone that if you come here, then you can enjoy what standard of living, and then you can do so what you can do in this community. You can express your opinion. You can join in the development for the whole village. You can create your own project, and then we will try to support you to fulfill your dream in this community. And then everyone living together, we are having the standard that telling everyone, if you're coming to this community, then this is what will happen next. So basically, the rural revitalization in all the other villages, I think is still you need to create this community environment to lead the future development. Yeah.
So like Jinzheng, you've mentioned you've been to Tangjiazhuang multiple times, because for me, I'm just hearing the stories, listening to the stories. What's your impressions about the village? Like, what are the key projects maybe you've seen in the community that impresses you the most?
So what impressed me most was the people, because the first time we went there was for a video project. So we are planning to have a video interview with how to say that? That was a sportsman, a young sportsman, who was champion of a powerboard sport. He was back in Tangjiazhuang Village for around a few years, and what impressed him and what attracts him was that he feels the village was promising. And even in the very deep of the mountain, he still prefer to stay right here in the river and to teach the students coming across the nation, even across the globe. And that is the very first impression that I have of this village, that was inclusive and possible. and with much potential. The second time I went to Tangjiazhuang Village and I saw the hotel and the infrastructure. So Guo and his teammates have made. That was artistic. That was beyond even my stereotypes of the rural China. Indeed. And what the infrastructures were attracting people coming all over China. And as I said, they want to bring aesthetic values, and they want to bring money, and they want to bring people, and they want to bring the brilliant ideas and talents together in one village. And that is what I think impressed me most.
That's today's episode for now. We've covered so much, from Guo's journey abroad to her vision for rural revitalization in Tangjiazhuang Village. But this story is far from over. Next time, we'll dive deeper into how Guo and her team turned a quiet village into a thriving community, and her role as a village CEO. Plus, we'll explore the challenges of balancing modernity with tradition. Stay curious, and we'll catch you in part 2.